What's good? How was y'all doing today? We finna reacting to the TV show that brainwashed children. Um, Honestly, just thinking about, looking back, on like, you ever like SpongeBob, so you ever see videos like online and shit where it's like, oh, you know what I'm saying, SpongeBob has some or what Gravity Falls or even Adventure Time has some dark and really like disturbing, messed up shit that we grew, you know what I'm saying, grew up seeing early 2000s, you know what I'm saying, late 2000s. That shit still be coming on. But it's like when you in the moment of being a kid, you don't recognize that shit. It's all subliminal. It's just like, okay, it goes past your mind, but it goes in your subconscious type shit like that. So it's like when you look on it later, look on all these cartoons or anything, you look on all these cartoons and you see like, damn, like it's always gonna be something up with these cartoons that do not look right when you look at it as you get older and as you get more mature type shit like that. But we finna see what you know what I'm saying, this talking about. But appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure you leave a like, comment, share, subscribe. Oh yeah, also we breaking this shit up into parts. So I'm watching like it's gonna be like 20 minutes, like 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20 type shit like that. So it's probably gonna be at least like 6 parts, maybe. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just gonna stop the video and see the time we at. And then, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna continue it the next time I make a part two, part three, and type shit like that. But without further ado, we finna right to the bit.
لما نستشرق من روح الجنة لما نستشرق من روح الجنة لا تقول علينا صار
Nah, that shit, boy, creepy in the motherfucker. All that like Chuck E. Cheese and shit, bro. Oh yeah, y'all, bro. We definitely gotta we definitely gotta I gotta do a reaction. React to y'all with it. Some Chuck E. Cheese, you know what I'm saying? Creepy pasta. I remember reacting to one like some years ago, bro. Ain't nobody can tell me, bro, Chuck E. Cheese, like even now, 2000, but in the 90s and shit, you like all of them on the stage and shit like that, they did not look weird in a bitch, bro, on my life. And there's one video out there, I probably know it. It's like this dude, he like talking and shit, and he talks to I think it's Mickey Mouse or so. It's somebody, bro, some type of animatronic. He talks to this shit in Chuck E. Cheese. That bitch turned at his ass. Like real life, just turned at his ass on some weird shit. But yeah. Just wanna tell y'all that right quick. Y'all be expecting you know what I'm saying, some Chuck E. Cheese reaction and shit like
December 29th, 2008.
creepypasta reaction.
The Gaza war had just begun, but already Israeli missiles were raining down on the Gaza Strip, annihilating police buildings, military bases, and anything they deemed to be a threat. It was carnage on the streets, as residents in the Strip were left helplessly waiting to see what target Israel would choose next. Though that day, when the missiles again fell from the sky, they would strike a rather strange target, a small, little-known TV station called Al-Aqsa TV. And that day, it was Israel's sole intention to end their broadcast forever. Though when the smoke cleared, the broadcast somehow remained. With content comparable to the public access channel, you might think this is a odd site to attack, especially when it's revealed that the attacks didn't even end there. In 2014, Al-Aqsa TV's headquarters would again be bombed and destroyed, as well as in 2018, and even as recently as 2021.
Oh my god, yes, 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 I need to go down. We're going to direct the camera now towards the explosion.
Though through it all, their broadcast has stayed on the air. And you might be right, this would be a bizarre target, had Al-Aqsa TV been like any other station. In reality, the content played on their airwaves featured propaganda, the likes of which we have never really seen in the modern age. And at the heart of it all was one program that stood above the rest, as rather than focusing on the adults in the region, it was instead aimed at the youth, the future of the country, the pioneers of tomorrow, culminating into what can only be described as the darkest children's show ever created.
Tomorrow's Pioneers, a weekly children's
It looks
show
like
on
Mickey Mouse.
Al-Aqsa TV.
It sounds like Mickey Mouse. But do you think Mickey Mouse would ever tell kids to fight Americans and the Jews?
What?
Before we fall down this
So
rabbit
I'm talking about
hole,
the
I
damn
wanna
Mickey
first
Mouse and
thank
shit.
today's sponsor, Babbel. Babbel is the #1
We
language
gonna skip this type shit. Nah, fuck Chuck E. Cheese and motherfucking Mickey Mouse for both of them.
language today. Tomorrow's Pioneers. It's a TV show that premiered in Palestine over a decade ago, that today is rarely, if ever, spoken of. And when it is mentioned, it's often brought up in a comedic way, as some of its scenes are so ridiculous that it can be undeniably hilarious at times, with some of its more iconic moments turning into well-known memes across the web. But we'll get more into that soon.
What
As
the
though it
hell?
is funny at times, the truth is that its premise and the effects that it likely had on the children of the region is horrifying to say the least. The show premiered back in 2007, a year after the inception of Al-Aqsa TV, the channel it would air on, with the station itself being run by a group known as Hamas, considered here in the US and in many other countries to be a terrorist organization. Hamas are known for their unwavering desire to reclaim the land that they believe was taken from them by Israel years ago. And in an extremely oversimplified version of events, since the year 1948, Palestine has lost roughly 85% of what once was their land to the hands of Israel, causing hundreds of thousands of Palestinians to become displaced, with many being forced to cram into a small area known as the Gaza Strip. Unsurprisingly, this has led to never-ending conflict between the two sides, as many Palestinians feel they had their land stolen from them, and no one believes this more strongly than Hamas. This military party has goals of reclaiming their land by using any means necessary, with their most infamous tactic being the use of suicide bombing, which they promote
What?
heavily within their group as a means of martyrdom. By 2006, the group would gain control over the Gaza Strip, immediately making them the most powerful political organization in all of Palestine. And with this came the creation of Al-Aqsa TV. Hamas wanted to assure that the rest of the country was as angry and willing to fight against Israel as they were, and so they created this network with the sole purpose of spreading hatred and promoting violence against their enemies, which included any supporters of Israel like the United States. And they were anything but subtle with how they approached this, leading to most of their programs looking something like this.
عليك باليهود ومن هاودهم والنصارى ومن ناصرهم فأحصهم عددا واقتلهم بددا ولا تغادر منهم أحدا.
But even if you believe that
them
Hamas's anger
motherfuckers
is
dissing.
justified, considering what was taken from them, what they chose to do next is a lot harder to excuse, as they began gearing this same type of content towards the children of Palestine. 'Cause
Nah,
after
bro.
all, children are the most impressionable
Leave the
members
children
of our
alone, my
society,
nigga.
and if they could expose them to this type of content at a young age, they could essentially breed loyal Hamas soldiers who would share their same hatred with Israel. And thus, Tomorrow's Pioneers was born. The show began its run back in April of 2007 and would proceed from there with 4 confirmed seasons and roughly 21 well-archived episodes, with many more currently missing, as unfortunately, given how obscure the show was, most of it stands today as lost media. But thankfully, the majority of the program's most shocking moments have been archived, as well as some of the actual transcripts from other episodes, and with these, we can piece together a good chunk of what the show was, and ultimately come to a conclusion as to why exactly it was made. The episodes would feature a reoccurring host named Sarah, who at the time of the first episode's release was just 8 years old, and she would be joined by her animal co-host, the first of which being a large mouse named Farfour. And if this character looks familiar, well, it's because it's literally just a man in a cheap Mickey Mouse costume,
No, me,
accounting for
boy.
what would by far
Wish
become
Mickey
the
Mouse
show's
like
most
shit.
infamous character. Together, the pair would talk about issues happening throughout Palestine, while performing skits, singing songs, and featuring call-in sections where the young viewers could talk to the hosts in order to seek advice or guidance. And though this may seem like any other kid show at the time, where it really stands out is with its subject matter, as due to it being created directly by Hamas for propaganda purposes, they certainly didn't shy away from sharing their often extreme views throughout the show, leading to an almost inexplicably bizarre and oftentimes disturbing final product. And truthfully, finding the words to describe it all is practically impossible because it is just so insane. So today, I will simply be showing you, guiding you episode by episode into the world of Tomorrow's Pioneers, and all the moments that have since gone on to make it the most disturbing children's show ever made. And the further we fall down this rabbit hole, the darker it gets.
Farfour looks like Mickey Mouse, but this
Season
Palestinian
1.
children's character doesn't talk like Mickey or
Shit
sing
fucked
like
up,
Mickey
bro.
Mouse's ear.
Season 1 began on the morning of April 13th, 2007, with the inaugural episode Farfour is Caught Speaking English. The program aired in a 60-minute Friday morning time slot that was often most popular with preschoolers and other young children, as they would be the show's targeted demographic. In the show, we are introduced to Sarah and Farfour, and much like the title would suggest, its premise centers around Farfour having been caught speaking English by his uncle Hazim, a character played by Hazim al-Sharari, the actual creator of the show, to which Farfour is chastised for, as his uncle and Sarah believe he should be speaking their native language of Arabic.
فرفور إني سمعتك تقول باللغة الإنجليزية
اللغوك نعم How are you يا سراء I hope to be good time
نعم
مالك يا فرفور انت ليش هيك بتحكي مش احنا اتفقنا ان نحكي باللغة العربية الفصحى
هذه اللغة يا سراء لغة العالم المتقدم لغة العالم اللي بيفهم اللي بيخترع بس هيك
لا يا فرفور انت غلطان عشان انت بتعرفش ان المسلمين هم اساس الحضارة.
The episode then cuts to Sarah, who explains that the show will act as a nucleus for the reunion of Palestine with the land that they once owned.
أذكركم أننا نحن العظماء انطلقنا في هذا البرنامج لنقود هذا العالم وستكون النوى بإذن الله تعالى من هنا من فلسطين.
فلسطين يا سراء من أين بالضبط؟ من غزة؟ أم من القدس؟ أم من رام الله؟ أم من كل فلسطين؟
نعم من كل فلسطين.
Leading to a monologue from Farfour where he states,
نحن رواد الغد سنعيد لهذه الأمة مجدها وسنحرر الأقصى إن شاء الله وسنحرر العراق إن شاء الله وسنحرر بلاد المسلمين التي تجتاحها هذه الأبناء القتلة.
The episode then ends with Uncle Hazim discussing the Iraq War, which was transpiring around the time of this episode's airing, to which he says, as you can see, they kill and slaughter the children and the women. Whoever followed the news yesterday could see the fetus and its mother. I'm sure you saw that, Sarah.
What the fuck? And this shit had shit had 4 seasons? The propaganda, the brainwash. What the hell, bro? These kids listen to that shit, don't even know what the fuck that even like. I mean, they probably do, some of them depending on how old you is, but majority of the part that shit flying right past them. Like, feed is kill, and I mean they probably even know what that shit is too. Like, it's the point of these parents letting their kids. I mean, I guess they just turn on a TV channel and just like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Hey, this is a kids channel. I'm not. Nah, though. The shit crazy.
To which Sarah agrees, with this line referencing a particular bout of fighting that had just happened in the days prior to the show's premiere. And though nothing too outrageous, this episode gives us a glimpse at the structure of the show, as it rarely followed a coherent storyline, and instead bounces around different political messages seemingly at random. But overall, Farfour is Caught Speaking English is definitely mature, and probably too much so for the 3 to 5-year-olds watching at home, as it mentions bloodshed and slaughtering children, with its political messages being extremely on the nose. But this was only the beginning, and it may very well be the show's most tame episode, as with each passing installment, things only became more and more unbelievable.
Nah, bro.
Today, episode 2 of season 1 appears to be almost entirely lost, except for one brief clip that has surfaced in recent years. It's titled Farfour vs. Bush, Omert and Condoleezza, and in it, we see a child call into the show to sing the hosting duo a song, but is promptly cut short due to its lyrics.
إسراء هذه الأنشودة مش كويسة، ليش؟
سامحها ومش عليها
عشان فيها استسلام.
يا إسراء احنا بدناش نستسلم واحنا بدنا نقاوم العدو.
Angry that the child had even mentioned the word surrender, the two hosts shut down her song, leading to Farfour going on a tirade, where out of nowhere he begins calling out multiple political figures from rival nations.
إن شاء الله إن شاء الله هذه الأرض لأطفالها ورجالها ونسائها وشيوخها سننتصر يا بوش وسننتصر يا شرمات. خلاص مع السلامة. سننتصر يا
Nah, bro.
سننتصر يا أولمر سننتصر يا كوندريزا.
The show would then follow this up with an episode featuring one of its most iconic moments. It's titled Farfour and the AK-47 and includes two call-in segments. One where Farfour discusses how they will one day lead the world. As a child sings, "It is the time of death, we will fight the war."
These are fucking children, bro. Millions of children watching this shit.
This is then followed by another caller, an 11-year-old named Harwa, who sings a
Targeted
song
towards
about
children
how
or some
Israel will answer for the incident that forced their people to relocate.
Some 5-year-olds talking about AKs and shit, bro.
And according to the child singing this song,
Oh.
the answer to the Israeli problem is an AK-47, to which Farfour then mimics the lyrics by simulating throwing grenades and shooting one of these weapons, leading to this notorious moment that is both really funny, yet also deeply disturbing when you really think about it, as the show is very obviously implying that the only way they will get their land back and truly deal with this issue is by use of force, especially considering that just prior to this, they showcased lyrics promoting warfare and never surrendering to Israel, providing one of the show's very first allusions to violence, which will become much more common of a theme as the episodes go by. And by this point, it's pretty clear that kids probably shouldn't be exposed to this kind of content.
Hell no.
And the world was starting to take notice.
This program, broadcast on Hamas-owned television, tells its young Arab viewers to take up arms against Americans and Israelis.
But truthfully, the controversy was just getting started. As by this point, yes, the show is definitely disturbing, especially knowing that there were kids watching, but all in all, many would argue that it's more comical than anything. And recognizing this, the showrunners seemingly grew unsatisfied with their current product. They didn't want kids just laughing along with the program. They wanted them to hate Israel, and they wanted them angry, upset, and willing to fight at a moment's notice. And so, they began doubling down on their ideology, with episode 4 taking a far more direct approach towards breeding anti-Semitism. The episode shows Farfour in a classroom taking a final exam, before he is caught using a cheat sheet by his teacher, and in response to this, the mouse gives one of the craziest excuses you will ever hear in all your life.
What? Run that back. Because I cheated because the Jews destroyed our homes? Oh nah, bro. This shit should have been canceled the first goddamn run, nigga. And when the Jews destroyed our homes, I couldn't find my note. the targeting of children, bruh.
In this clip, Farfour blames the Jews for forcing him to cheat on his test, citing that his home had been destroyed by them and that he had lost all his notebooks as a result. To which Sarah adds that they are wicked people, but it's still no excuse to cheat.
يا فرفور صحهم يا أصحاب سوء لكن هدم البيت مش يعني حجة مش مبرر مش مبرر إنه يغش في الامتحان.
Meanwhile, Uncle Hazim then goes on to say that they must study for their exams because the Jews don't want them to learn. Much like Farfour mimicking the AK-47, this would go on to become one of the show's first viral moments, as this particular clip would spread around the internet, shocking and outraging viewers across the globe. And with this came intense media scrutiny, with even the supporters of Palestine coming forward to condemn the show's messaging, along with the approach they had to such a young audience, especially by hijacking such a beloved character like Mickey Mouse. The whole thing clearly went way too
That ain't
far.
Mickey Mouse, that is
So far, in fact,
Mickey
that the
Mouse, my
Palestinian
nigga.
government, the section not run by Hamas, ordered that the show be pulled from the air, as even they
Nick from
believed that
Wish.
it was quote-unquote
$5.
the wrong approach. It was now creating an international outrage, considering that it was very clearly trying to teach children to hate Israel. But despite the direct order and criticism from all across the globe, the founder of the station itself would go on TV and proclaim that they were being unjustly targeted, before vowing to continue the show every Friday until their land was returned.
نحن نرد ونقول أن شعبنا الفلسطيني عندما رجع إلى دينه نصره الله سبحانه وتعالى وبالتالي لن نتخلى عن عقيدتنا ولن نتخلى عن إيماننا.
But despite this declaration, the challenges were far from over for the show, as just days after this, a rival political group known as Fatah would begin an armed clash with Hamas, which eventually led to the Al-Aqsa TV compound being surrounded by Fatah members and eventually seized entirely. And once in their control, Fatah would cut the broadcast and replace it with a pro-Fatah chant that would play on the network over and over again, until eventually Hamas would regain control of their building sometime later. It was truly an insane time period for the network, but believe it or not, the show had one more adversary that they would have to deal with. And this one was by far their most challenging, as they found themselves up against one of the most ruthless and powerful forces our world has ever seen: Disney, and specifically their legal team.
Nah, yo, we gonna end that shit right there, bro. And then we're gonna come back with a part 2. You know, this is part 1, we can come back with a part 2, but nah though. Bro, nigga talking about some I cheated. Couldn't do my homework. I lost my notes because the Jews blew up my house. Really trying to like brainwashing these children to grow up and just hate. Even hate at that young age to the point where it's all up in their mind is hate. And as soon as a motherfucker tell them, all right, you know what I'm saying, go out there and do this and that, it ain't nothing. It ain't nothing. It ain't nothing, no thought. Them niggas is they just gonna go out there and do this shit, bro. But nah, we gonna be back with a part 2. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate y'all watching. Make sure to leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see y'all in part 2.